All right, everyone, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have a special guest with me. He's a good friend I've known for quite a long time. A very interesting fun fact: we were born on the exact same day. How are you doing today, my friend? Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. My name is Gino. My last name is Santos, Santos, because everybody used to give me that nickname was Sandy Toes, and I still don't like it.
Really? I
A
don't
little
remember people
traumatic.
saying that. What was this, like
Oh
middle
yeah,
school, high
this is like
school?
no, no, no. This is elementary school that
Uh,
stuck into high school. Yes, this was bad. Yeah, but
Interesting.
that nickname, still remember it. If anything from school I remember, that's it. But that's about it for an introduction.
Yeah, so, we were just talking a little bit before the pod, just catching up a little bit. Like I said, we're pretty good friends. We've known each other for quite a while. Um, a couple things I do want to talk to you about is some of like the business endeavors you've been going into. I noticed you've been doing for quite some time, like your music career, and you said you have a lot of your music stuff in town here.
Hmm.
Like, when did you start like the music, and what kind of got you inspired?
When did I start? Ooh, starting would have been my stepfather, which is my sister's dad.
The one who owns the barbershop.
No, that's my brother's dad. I have all three of my siblings, me, my sister, and my brother, all have three separate fathers.
So you're all half
Um,
siblings.
yes, that is
Okay,
correct.
gotcha.
So with my sister's dad, he was the one who actually got me into gaming, music, and anime. He's the one who introduced that to me. Um, I want to say the music infatuation started maybe when I was around 11 or 12, because I remember it started briefly before I was going into middle school. But the only thing I could play was the electronic keyboard, which is not the piano, but it's the actual keyboard that you have hooked up to the computer that can emulate the sound. So you know how you would have your natural keyboard, and you would assign different instruments and keys
Uh
to
huh.
like the A, the W, the S, the D, and etc.
Yeah.
And I would play around with that when I was younger, and that's actually how I ended up learning music by ear. I still cannot play music or read music off of a sheet. I
Have you
have to do
never like
everything by sound or ear.
you've never thought to like try to train or get some lessons in that, or maybe
No.
working towards that? You think you're just gonna go purely off of ear,
Yeah,
more
I kind of
natural and
enjoy
kind
it.
of soul based?
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. I kind of gotten accustomed to either imitating, replaying, or revamping music through just by sound. That's why it takes me a long time of listening to a certain song to actually get that song tempo key and everything down.
Like to be
And
able to
then what I
reproduce
do
it perfectly.
exactly.
So like when did you?
But
So like that's when you started like producing, or not producing, but like kind of playing around, making beats, kind of learning the
yeah,
beginnings.
11 to 12, self-taught maybe up until 16. Didn't take it seriously until it was always like a skill that I had that I never really shared or really cared about.
Just kind of kept it
Because
on
I
the
was always,
DL.
yeah. And I guess I took it more seriously once I graduated high school. And after I left Planet Smoothie, which was my first job outside of the barber shop. Yeah, that's what it was. And then from there, it's kind of just been production on SoundCloud. Everything is self-taught by ear. So when it comes to recreating a beat, making a beat, full-scale production, engineering, just over that time span of 7 to 8 years, I learned how to do it all by myself. So I started touring around making my own songs, and then from there, people would reach out to me to create like on Fiverr and stuff like that, like little gigs, $20 here for mixing and mastering. These are
What?
like young kids that would hire me, and I was only a little bit older than them. And then from there, it actually took off.
And that's where you're like, oh, I can kind of make some money off this, do some things, and then now, I
Hmm.
mean, you've kind of branched out and you're got your fingers in a bunch of other stuff. So like, what kind of other projects you got going on, and like, are like, what's your goal with like what you're doing with your music?
So initial projects were actually I was trying to be an artist myself, but
Like a writer, sing songwriter, rapper, or just
I
kind of like
didn't
a
have a specific
producer.
genre. Just put out music, like
Okay,
just put out
like
music, right?
beats, or like
Instrumentals, music of my own, songs, composers.
vocals. Gotcha.
Yeah, but I ended up when I had gotten a temporary contract through Atlantic Records, because I played as a DJ at the Skyline Production Club, and I played three original beats. And one of the producers, I don't think he was a key coordinator for Atlantic Records, but he was just somebody who knew somebody, um, that essentially listened to my production, and then they wanted to listen to like a portion of my discography. So they listened to about 18 tracks, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna see what you can do for us." And then I had my first leasing agreement, which was, I actually have the contract PDF in my phone, but I believe it was 23 beat productions, with 808s, so they were drill beats, which I wasn't very accustomed to at the time. I don't know if you've listened to some of the beats that I've made, but
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
a
no, I always see you be
quite a
posting your beats on your story. I'll be sliding up, listen to it. You always send me your little beats on like DM me directly, and I listen to those as well.
yeah,
So I'll be listening. That's
quite a
why I like.
majority of those beats. They're all like R&B and soul production. They're not like
Yeah.
808s and drill beats.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely noticed that. You know, for sure. You
Yeah,
got more like a soulful, kind of like slower, kind of rhythmic style than like kind of a hardcore drill beat.
yeah. So with that being my first leasing term, like 23 beats, and I believe it was only like something, I think it was 23 beats for like $4,000, right? It was my first like real check, first like
It's pretty good
actual
money for
commission.
the average man.
And I had a deadline of 6 months. They weren't going to go to anybody in specific. It was just a demo tape, just to basically show them what I can and can't do. But then they gave me a genre to fit. And I'm like, wait, you know, I'm stressing out. I'm maybe 18,
Yeah.
19. And I'm like, how am I supposed to show you who I am if you gave me a direct subject of what I need to do? You know?
You're not gonna hear your true, authentic style that way because you're having to like
Yeah.
change it to what they're trying to
To fit
get.
like
Yeah.
their box that they wanted, right? Their niche. So I completed it. I got my payday. And when it came to renew a license or contract with them, I didn't do it because
You're like, fuck
I
that.
couldn't
I'm
make drill
getting
beats.
out. Yeah, you're
I
like,
didn't like
nah,
it.
it's not
I
your
couldn't.
style.
I like it, but I do not prefer to make it.
Would you,
If that correlates there.
would you, was the reason, is it like more difficult, more time consuming, tedious, not
No,
as fun?
it's too easy, but it's not the type of music that I want a hand in making. I like it for like hype
Fair
moments
enough.
and etc. But I want like the slower tempo music. That's the stuff that I want to make. Right? It's more so that it fits with what I'm accustomed to. Because I branch out into EDM,
Uh
and oh man, I love it.
huh.
I incorporate that into a lot of stuff now.
And man, you find something you like, you get passionate about it. And so I like to hear, you know, people who do things they want to do. Um, what kind of other like things you know you said earlier you had like a business, what kind of businesses are you running, you know, being a young man yourself?
Okay. Do you want to go through any successes and failures, or what do you want me to target first?
However you think would be most beneficial, you know, to like the young entrepreneurs
Hmm.
out there.
I
You
guess I can
know,
target a failure then.
I mean, they do say you
Uh,
learn more from failures than you do from successes.
yeah. So let's see. What was my worst failure? I think one that actually happened recently was my clothing brand. because I just shut that down about a month ago after 9 seasons of releases. So that's 2 years, and essentially, 2 years and 2 months. I didn't make it to the 10th season. Um, you're probably not familiar with the brand of clothes that I was selling, but the website holder name was carisland.com. Um, it was actually a joint venture with the a girlfriend of mine from 2 or 3 years ago, and she was from Trinidad, and her name was Kari. So that's where the name Kari's
Kari's
Land
land
came
came
from.
from.
Yeah, and she didn't want a hand in any of the licensing, so of course all of it was under my name. Um, and to be honest, I never changed the name out of I didn't want to pay the fee. I didn't
Fair
want to pay
enough.
the relicensing fee for the copyrights and everything. I already had something going. I had the logo created. I didn't want to redo all of it when we broke up. All right, so I
You're like,
kept it.
fuck this.
Yeah, so I kept it, and that wasn't a very good thing to do because that started a scornful type of toxic endeavor relationship there.
So it was like you were running it out of spite.
No, no, but she believed I was, which is unfortunate.
Just
Um,
kind of messing with her.
Yeah, because she didn't like the fact that the name was so basically referring to her name, and then I was making money off of it. But essentially, with this brand of clothes, it was all urban and streetwear. A lot of it was sourced through individual artists. So I would give them the template, the materials, and etc. I would pay for it. So let's say, for example, if they needed a large shirt and they wanted to do a design, and then they sell the design, that's basically what I provided. I provided the materials and the website to where they can create, put their designs on this platform, and then sell it. So what they would do is they would get a 70% cut because they're doing essentially all the legwork. Um, but I was basically the production, right? I'm the boxes, the labels, the shipping, the order numbers, and etc.
All the
And
number
the first,
stuff.
like, yeah, first, maybe the first year. Because I did that solely by myself the first year until it grew a bit bigger during COVID, because it exploded. I don't know why it exploded during
Because
COVID.
everyone was buying stuff online and not going out to stores to buy stuff.
Yes. But I still to this day, I don't know why the clothes in specific, especially my website, I don't know where all the traction came from, right? Because I didn't do any ambassadors or anything like that. I have absolutely no clue how the website blew up. But it was tanking, right? That first year, the first year, I made a negative $6,700.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a very
Yeah.
successful start.
Oh, oh man, it was rough that first year. Keep in mind, I'm in year two and I'm shutting it down this following month because I made too much of a profit in this previous year, 2020 through 2021. I've actually turned out um, a profit of 23,000 after all costs and payoffs, layoffs, and etc. Because I'm laying people off, right? I'm just getting rid of this name.
Uh
I'm
huh.
not going to be selling these clothes anymore. Um, Only because it's too volatile for me, and I
And
have to
not
be too
sustainable
hands on
enough.
with it. Yeah, it's too volatile for me right now, and I do want to retreat out of it. I don't think it's something that I should keep my hands in much longer. Um,
Well,
but
you got your
thankfully,
toes dipped in there, got it all nice and tested out. You got that little bit of experience still.
yeah, it's unfortunate because I did like the clothes. I would oftentimes buy the clothes for myself and etc. But let me give you an example of the prices and everything else,
Yeah.
right? Because I had these sourced through France, and I
Interesting.
had global international shipping, right? Materials and etc. Woo! International cost, man. That's what did it in that
Oh yeah,
first year.
dude.
That's
International cost is ridiculous, bro. I just bought a painting from like Portugal, and the cost of shipping was like $18
yeah,
first like standard.
and that's what did it, man. That's what did it that first year. That's 6,700 negative, and it was all shipping costs. Pretty much. I mean, that was my biggest crutch. There's other things like, of course, artists backing out of contracts and stuff like that, which is fine if they felt it wasn't a good fit for them. You can move on with your endeavor in life.
Yeah.
I did allow previous artists, like artists that were contracted and artists that were no longer. I did allow them, to work together on their own stuff and etc. as well. It's like there's a lot of people I've noticed because I jumped into this with no experience. There's a lot of people that try to cut off artists from working with each other under contractual agreements, man.
So they try to like blackball people from working for other
Yeah.
people.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like how Hollywood, like they'll get blackballed from movies and gigs and stuff.
If they speak up against something, oh yeah.
Can't speak up against a man unless you want to suck the man's cock. You got to do
Yeah.
what he says, or just not have a voice or opinion and not make it big.
So, but thankfully, with that, like with the approach that I had with separating, because of course I gave everybody their settlement payoffs, layoff payouts, and etc. So everybody got paid. Everybody's getting paid more than they should be. I'm dividing most of the money between the actual people that were working for me, other than taking the profit for myself, and that's why I'm left with 23,000 in net growth and net positive. Because if I actually took all the money for myself, right? Because you know how some people will
Just
take all the
dip.
money for themselves. That would have been like 146,000. Um,
And about how many people did you split this over with?
I believe it was 450, a little under.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
yeah, it was very small. It was all basically licensed artists. I would pay them to actually come in and sell their merchandise, and then still give them most of the profit because it is their merchandise, it's their art, it's their designs.
So did you have like any notable names or like American artists, or was it more like French or international artists that were like using your brand or
It
website?
was it was that. It was basically just anybody that wanted to join the platform, like Depop. It was all
Like
like
free for all?
individuals. hmm
Gotcha. Okay.
That's basically what it was. You did whatever you wanted. You just had certain regulations through the automatic system, and that was about it. You can make things like, or not even like Depop, but more like a competitive Etsy, but that was focused on specifically clothes. You
Yeah, it
know,
makes sense. Yeah. So
um,
at the end of this, you said this was a failure. How would you
it
go
was.
about saying this was a failure? Was it that it wasn't sustainable? You said it was too volatile.
Oh yeah,
Was there
it's.
any way you could have possibly maybe relocated the processing,
The
labeling, and all the other
headquarters.
stuff, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I
headquarters, done
could have.
that, not cut
Um,
corners, but
so
you
the
know,
first thing that I would have focused on would have been the licensing agreements. More so because of the name, like rebranding. That's the first thing I would have done. Um,
was that your biggest issue at the time?
yeah, it's more of a moral gray zone. Even though there's nothing actually wrong with keeping the name, it's more of a personal opinion on the matter as to yeah, I really should change the name, type of thing. So that would have been the first thing. The cost of rebranding was a bit too high
You didn't think
for
it was
my
worth
liking.
it?
Yeah, I didn't think it was worth it with the brand already being well established at that point of 2 years. Um,
W- Did you think about
COVID,
selling it off to maybe someone else instead
no,
of just closing down
no. The
the
problem, the
business?
problem with finding an investor to actually take it, or anybody that was willing to take it, is that my mark down in that first year was extremely high. The upkeep throughout the general course of the year is extremely high. It's just that during COVID, I actually made a profit that outweighed all of these fees that I
Previous
pay for
years, yeah.
upkeep. hmm
So you just
To
had a market
where
boom.
exactly, and it put me in a safe position to just get out,
Kind of, yeah, pull
right?
out with
Because
still
the
profit.
next year's targets, I'm gonna be honest. The next year's targets that we were looking at, you were looking at the graph going up, and then you were looking at the graph flatlining,
Be
right?
like Mount Fuji.
Oh yeah, you were looking at the slipperiest of slopes. You know, when I say bottom out, you're going from 146K in profit, and you're dropping down to like 23,000 in general purchases, but upkeep costs are about 46,000.
Yeah, well, I guess that's pretty smart to get out at that point, though.
Oh yeah. So do it now while you have the money, right? Get out, pay everybody that you need to pay, and just
So that's
end
it.
it.
Would that be your advice that if you're like in a business, you do get like kind of like you said, like you break, where the business booms, you get profits, you're able to just get out, pay everyone off, do your thing.
Oh, oh yeah. If you have a projection rate, and keep in mind, this is a projection rate, so it's speculation, right? This is based on data that you have, right? So it's not guaranteed, but that's what you're projecting based off of the trend, right? So this could have very well changed. I could have easily
Double down.
maintained, yeah, double down and maintained the traffic that I was getting. The problem is I don't want to take that gamble, right?
Yeah, just take
Because
the
if I
safe
go
route.
even exactly, if I go even slightly below the margin that I need to, remember my upkeep costs are high. So anything below my upkeep costs, I'm gonna lose money. If my upkeep costs are $46,000, $47,000, you go 46,000 in purchases from 47,000. That's $1,000 in loss. You know how fast that debt can can snowball. Mm-mm,
Real quick.
I can't. I don't want to do it. You know. So things like that. The way that I've performed in these endeavors, they work out personally for me, right? Because I am risk adverse, but I still like to take the initial risk, right? So what I'll do is I'll jump in, but if I assess, the boat is getting a little water on top and I got a hole at the bottom, I might just jump off with my life vest, right? That's essentially my story with investing in my endeavors. Because the next thing from there, the stable market would be the barbershops. That's been stable for years. I think that
Oh yeah,
started when
people
I
are
was,
always gonna want to get their hair cut at some point, you know, and that's
yeah.
just them fucking hippies.
Well, so the barbershops, right? Those are family barbershops, right? So my dad
Yeah,
started those.
small
I had
town,
no
family
hand in the
owned.
creation. Exactly. I had no hand in the actual creation. That's all my dad's legwork, everything he had to go through to get that started. I don't even know how he got it started at the time. I was 14, right? Um, so with that, let's just start with between 14 and 18, right? I would do like assisting with the events and the bookkeeping and stuff like that, doing the math and doing the bills behind the scenes and the photoshopping, small stuff. Um, from when was it created? 14.
14 would have been like middle
We
school.
started in 2013 with
So,
the first building. Um, we had the little leased building. Um, 2013, there was only my stepdad, which is my brother's dad, and there was one other gentleman who I did forget his name. Um, but there was two barbers in there. And it was two barbers in that small location. I want to say maybe about 400 square feet. It was very, very small. Um,
yeah, because I do remember being like a little bit further down the lot in that little smaller section, and then
mhm.
they only had like I think it was maybe one row. I don't know, it's been a while of like chairs, and then now it's like they got like both sides, like fucking like 8 barbers at a time.
No, this is even before that. Like this is where we had the two barber chairs, and we can only fit four people in the store.
Oh my god.
Um, like four customers. Like the building was 400 square feet, or maybe smaller than that. It was like a closet, bro. Um, and the parking lot that we had could only take two cars at a time. So my dad and his coworker at the time had to park their two cars in the back so that customers that were coming in could take the two spots in the front. It was very small. Um, he kept that going for 4 years like that. And his first profit, I remember his first profit because he broke down and cried when he got his first profit. Um, and you know how my dad looks, my stepdad.
Yeah, yeah, I know how he looks.
Yeah, he's
Pretty
a big, stocky
big.
man
Yeah, yeah.
behind ears, you know. And his first profit after 4 years was 43 cents.
Oh my God! Wow.
Um, our first profit for the barbershops was me in junior year. I had just turned like 17. Um, and he was excited to finally get 43 cents of money and a profit. Because at that point in time, he was spending so much money out of pocket. Basically, every dollar he made
Going
from
right
cutting
back into
hair
the shop.
was exactly, yeah, that was 4 years of that. And then he finally, I believe, with that final year, because that was 2013 was when we started. 2017, maybe 2018. It was around that time frame when he got that profit, and whatever the following year after that was, is when he actually made a good chunk of profit. And then that's when we moved into the initial location in the Big Lots Plaza.
Yeah, that's the one I remember first seeing.
Mm-hmm. And then I think in that same year that he opened that store, we were able to get enough money to open the one in the Viaport Mall as well. Because the Viaport Mall was selling off basically a lot of slots and
For
spaces
cheap.
because they had just got bought out. Whoever the owner
I think it was
was of
like
the actual
some.
mall,
I think it was like 13 lawyers or 11 lawyers that grouped up together to buy it.
buy it. Yeah, it was something. It was something. Um, but whoever the actual new owner was, they were selling the lots in those stores for cheap, and the lease was very cheap. He was like, "Oh yeah, jumped on it,
Yeah, for
you know,
sure. Smart.
jumped on it." And what's one of the main attractions in that mall right now? It's somehow our barber shop. Like it's one of the biggest logos on their billboard,
Yeah,
and it's the main advertised store on their website.
that mall is pretty dead. We're in a small town for everyone listening.
Oh yeah.
Small town. It's a one-story mall.
Mm-hmm.
It basically shut down at one point, came back up, and
Came
rebranded.
back alive.
It rebranded
Oh
to
yeah.
Viaport, and now they fucking went back to Lake Square because no one changed their mind, and they're like, it's still Lake Square.
Oh yeah. And that's a surprising thing though. It's so sad though.
What?
They still need to do more with that mall. I've
Yeah,
actually
it's so dead. But I remember in like middle school, it was like bumping
mhm.
over there. It would always be busy, and now like people barely go there.
Oh yeah. I think actually haven't they recently added a arcade center in
Yeah, there's
like
like a
bowling
little
alley and stuff?
arcade. Yeah, they got bowling, race car driving. They got like boxing machines, arcade machines.
Yeah.
Uh, what else do they have down there? They have a couple, just gaming shit. A little fun activity zone. I think they have hatchet throwing now.
Really?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. That shit sounds so fun.
Oh, maybe we can go. I haven't been there yet
Oh, I'm
because
100% down to go, bro.
I just came back maybe June or July
Where were you
into this
previously?
area.
Oh,
I
you
was in
said you're in
Winter
Winter
Garden.
Garden. That's right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I still want to check it out because I've heard about it. Is it true that there's a what is it like a figure skating rink or something in there, like an ice skating rink, or is that not?
Maybe. Dude, I really don't go in there that often. I have a store in there that I have to go and get stuff from on my
Mm-hmm.
route, but I don't really go outside of my store. I just go in through the back rooms and shit. So I'm like sneaking through all the shit. I don't know. I think I have seen like an ice rink thing, but I don't know if it's open 20 like all the time. I think
All
it's
right,
only open during
gotcha.
certain like events, maybe like holidays or something.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, coming back over here, I was really surprised because I think what was it? Let's sit out. I remember going down on 441, right? You know where 441 in Eudora Road is, like by the Walmart and the like CVS and stuff on the corner.
Walmart, CVS 441. Yeah.
Yeah, like Triangle Elementary and
Uh
everything
huh.
over there.
Yeah.
So I remember
Oh, you're
coming
talking about
back.
Eudora.
Yeah, that road. So I remember coming back, right? And I saw a what did I see first? I saw a K Jewelers, and then a little bit further up, I saw a Panera Bread. I may have them flipped, and I was like, what? You know, because these were never here when I left, right? I was like, where are all these stores coming from?
There's
Right?
been a lot of
And
like
then
construction and building around over here. We now have that new highway that we can get to Orlando in like 30 minutes.
minutes, yeah. And I haven't been to that new movie. No, that's a lie. I have been there,
The
the
Epic
Epic
Theaters.
Theater.
It's
I just
pretty
haven't
nice.
been into
It's
the
expensive.
IMAX portion yet. That's what I haven't been into.
I
I've
don't
been
think I
into
have
the
either.
standard screen.
Have you seen that Shaolin movie? With the Asian
Oh
cast?
man,
What was it? The like an Asian superhero? Oh my god, it's like the 9 or 7 rings. That shit looked pretty
Mandarin?
dope. Mandarin? No.
Oh, Shang Chi.
Shank, yes, yes.
There we go.
I know you would know.
You
You're
said
more.
yeah, you said Seven Rings, and I was like Mandarin. I don't think he's in the
I'm pretty sure that's an
MCU,
orange, my
right?
guy.
No, it's a DC. Oh, no, oh
I'm
wow,
just.
it's a Marvel villain. I'm pretty sure.
No, you did you my joke, Mandarin Orange?
Oh, oh,
Come on, Gino.
no, it
You're
flew
supposed to
over my
laugh at
head
my
for a moment.
jokes, man. You're supposed to make me look good here. You're
Hey,
making
it
me
flew
look
over
like a
my head.
terrible comic here.
Oh no, it's okay.
I'm just fucking with you. But yeah,
You
no, that
know, it's a
movie looks sick
terrible
as fuck,
comic.
bro. Who?
Shang-Chi.
He probably would be, but if he didn't laugh, he'd probably just slap you with his rings.
Yeah. So is the villain in that movie? Is this supposed to be Mandarin or is it somebody else?
Dude, I'm not too well versed on the like superheroes and shit like that in American culture. I know that you're like well versed in like the DC and like Marvel comics. I'm not that like knowledgeable, so I'm not too sure. I've seen like the
Gotcha.
trailers. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I'm like one of those basic ass superhero fans that
Oh,
just go see the
like
movies.
the fighting. Oh, not even like
I've
into
I've had
the
some I've read
universe. You
some of
just
the
go check it
comics.
out.
Well, I mean, I know about like the universe. And I'm like, I'm probably like a little bit more in depth like than the average person,
Person? Yeah.
but like not as in depth as like a fan, like a loyal fan.
Oh no, trust me. Anybody that goes and sees the movies, if you watch like pretty much all the movies, you're definitely more well versed than the average person. Because the average person just goes and is like, "Oh, I like the movie." That's about it. They don't
Yeah,
really
no, I
understand what's
follow
going
the
on.
story and I see the characters and I see like the correspondence and shit.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of like the generic like basic like well known and like some of like the lower mid tier like
Mm.
people.
Let's see. Because there's Shang Chi, and then there's something else that's supposed to be in the movies right now, isn't there? Isn't it another?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a villain movie. Oh, Venom. There we go.
Oh yeah, Venom.
Venom. Let there be carnage. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's in movie theaters right now.
I heard there's like romance in it.
Romance.
Yeah, well, my roommate. You remember Noah? I think it was Noah. He was complaining. He was saying he's like,
Noah.
why they got I don't want to like name
Uh.
drop him.
Oh. Yeah, I got you. From school. I got
Yeah,
you.
from school. Yeah,
Triangle.
yeah. He sat with us at lunch.
Yeah.
Big white kid,
Yeah, I know.
glasses. Yeah. So he was complaining like, bro, like why is there gotta be romance and everything nowadays? Like, why can't you just have like an action film or like a comedy film without romance? Which is kind of tribute. Like, I feel like a lot of like the recent shit like always has romance in it.
Um, I wouldn't know because I've definitely been unplugged for a while. I think the only thing I've caught up with recently, is I just read through Zoe, Whole Cake Island, and have finally caught up with Wano in One Piece.
To like where
Um,
the anime is, or to where like
to
it
the manga.
currently is like up to
Like
date. Like next week update is what you're waiting for.
I believe I'm waiting for Sunday's drop, which is
Yeah. Okay.
supposed to be 10/28. 10/28 or maybe 10/27. I
10/28.
think.
That's like in
Yeah,
two
I think
weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's 10/11 right now.
Chapters.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the date.
No,
I was like, yeah, it's September 11th. Or no, it's not
no,
even
because I think
September. It's
it's
October. Oh my god, I'm retarded.
because I don't want to hit anybody with a accidental spoiler. So I'm at that part where
I would have had to pull up my Glock, Gino, if you had tried to spoil anything for me.
yeah, I had to stop there for a moment because I was like, I don't know if you're caught up yet.
I'm only caught up to where the anime is, honestly.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Have
Okay.
you been watching like any other anime, or are you just kind of like not as like into it as
Watching,
much?
no. Reading, yes.
I've been reading a lot more
Um,
myself, actually, but also like keeping up with the weekly and seasonal anime.
no. I just caught up to One Piece. I believe I have always stayed caught up with My Hero and what's the name? Black Clover. Um,
Oh yeah, Black Clover.
JJK, I'm
I'm
still
behind
caught
on.
up with.
I remember when you told me about that series when there was like 14 chapters, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And like I was like
Which
up
one?
into it, Black Clover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I did. I was like reading it all the way up to like the part with like the elves,
Hmm.
and then like I got like a new phone, and it was like I switched to iPhone, and it didn't have like the same like manga reading app, and then I
Hmm.
didn't have Black Clover on the new app that I
On
had,
it.
so I was like fuck,
Oh,
and then I
yeah.
just kind of like got like 20, 40, 50 chapters behind. I was like fuck, bro,
Fine.
and then I just kind of
Yeah.
like the anime came out. And I was like, I'm one of those people where I can't read it and then watch it. I either do one or the
Yeah.
other,
Other.
and
Yeah.
that's just like rare occasion when I really like the series.
Then
Like,
you'll do both.
yeah, like have you seen? You got to read "Don't Mess with Me, Nagatoro-chan."
I think you've recommended that before.
It's like a weirdly captivating manga, and they actually had a recent anime release.
Hmm.
So it's like weird. You're like, oh, what the heck? But it's actually kind of like, if you're an anime fan, you're like, oh yeah, this is actually kind of, it's pretty good. It's like weirdly grabs you.
Like, what is the main
It's basically
what
like
is the main genre? I guess it's like mystery. Is it
it's like
shonen?
romance school
Slice of
uh
life?
slice. Yeah, kind
No.
of. It's about, yeah, I guess you could say it's stuff, but there's kind of like an overarching story to it, kind of leading to romance. Especially with this like nerdy senpai and this like kind of like, I guess you could call her tsundere, uh,
Hmm.
uh, Kohai, and like she kind of like bullies him, and it's about like
Hmm.
those two and like their group of friends, and like he's in the art class or art club, and he's like the only member. It's really good, honestly, bro. Like you should check it out. Pretty like I
You know
recommended it to
what
this other guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's actually really good." And I was like, "Yeah, I told you."
it reminds me of just what you described to me reminds me of what's this main character's name? Mm,
What's the series?
Hachiman? Hachiman? Uh, the series name, I forget what the series name is because it's I only knew the Japanese name, and Japanese stuff is hard for me to remember or pronounce after
That's
it's
the
been a
fun.
while.
That's the funny thing, bro. Is because like I remember the Japanese names over the English names. Like I'll
Hmm.
say something, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, hold on, let me look it up." And I'll like go look at the English one name of it. I'm like this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that or heard about that."
I forget the actual title of the anime, but the main character, if you search him up, his name is Hachiman, like Hachi
Oh,
Man,
oh,
and then
oh. Wait, hold on. I know
he's like the he's like
Hachiman. I know what you're
the
talking about.
he's like the quote unquote antisocial like
Yeah, I know.
main character that doesn't like anybody, but he's like really nice, like on the inside, and he does everything for other people, but not for himself, type of thing. And he's got like multiple love interests in the story, I guess.
Hikigaya. Oh, oh yes. Yahari or no seishun lokame wa machigateru.
Oh yeah, I would have never remembered that, and I would have butchered it even
Well,
worse.
I'm looking at it
So
right now. That's the only
yeah,
reason. But yeah, it's yeah, that was actually a really good series. It was like
that's like
complex.
a that's what your description reminded me of. That series right there. Is it kind of like that? Familiar to it or
Oh no, no,
no?
it's more like aggressive tsundere, kind of like, but like obvious, but
Oh,
kind of Like
Oh,
I'm not sure if tsundere is the right like dere. I've
hmm
kind of like lost my knowledge on that. I'm not as weeaboo as I used to be. I just kind of watch the
hmm
weekly shit now.
gotcha.
But dude, my fucking list to watch is like in the 4 or 500s. It's ridiculous. Like all the shit like I don't watch that I'm like interested in, or like all the like weekly series I'm like kind of interested in, but fell off because I don't. They're like, bro, sometimes I've been watching 25, 30 like series a week. Like
Oh,
it's
jeez.
ridiculous. Yeah, I've been doing that since I was like 5, 6, 7, 8,
Oh
somewhere around
man.
there. Yeah, that's how I've
Yeah, I've
watched
never
over
actually
six
had a
hundred
backlog.
something series of anime. I'm a fucking huge fucking nerd.
Uh, I think for me, the only anime I've ever watched was kind of just like, oh, here's something that looks nice from the picture. Let me click it, and then I end up liking it every time. Um, I think my first anime was, I think it was Yu-Gi-Oh, and then Dragon Ball Z, and then Pokemon, and then from there, what ended up being my go-to series. You may or may not know this series. I don't recall the name, but it was a little kid that had a like a hammer or a, I don't know if it was a hammer or if it was a mallet. Um, and he had um, like a ball and chain on the bottom of it, and the
A
hammer like
mallet, ball, and
talked.
chain.
Um,
I'd have to see a picture if I've seen it or not, because I remember
man,
like most of the shit that I've seen, but I'm terrible
yeah,
with remembering the names.
he had a. It was basically a big. I don't recall if it was a club, a hammer, a mallet, but at the bottom of it, it was like the ball and chain, and the ball had like a face on it, with a very like a Usopp nose, and it talked. And I think that ended up being my go-to series for a while now, and
Huh.
I just don't recall what it was.
I think the first
But
thing
I
that
remember it
really
being on Tsunami.
got me stuck was, probably like Naruto, Dragon Ball. I saw like a few episodes of One Piece when I was younger, but like mainly
Mm-hmm.
Bleach is what got me started. I know me and you are like the rare few Bleach fans out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Used to be like one of the regarded as one of the big three. And for the people who don't know about the anime world or anything, or who are lost right now, the big three is like the top three names, like biggest anime that are like currently airing or like most known. And like back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
Bleach used to be one of the big three, but then there was like issues with the author and then the publisher and just back and forth, blah blah blah. The series got canceled. He had to rush the series to end it, etc. The anime got cut off
Mm-hmm.
short, and I've been waiting like
Oh
15
yeah,
years for the 1,000 year
final
blood arc.
season.
Yes, and bro, like
Like
fucking every year, bro. I'm like, bro, it's coming out, bro. I just gotta believe. Every year, I'm like, you're still waiting? Yes.
and then it finally
Finally
did.
gets announced,
Yeah.
and then it like
And
got
then it's
delays.
yeah, it gets delayed to like high heaven, and then they start announcing that, oh yeah, it's gonna have like fill-ins that are canon, and you're like, what?
What?
And you
Filler
know,
canon? Wait, what? Wait,
as in the
canon filler.
fill-ins.
The
Yes. So the fill-ins that
no
weren't
matter
in the
what.
manga, they're gonna be canon. They're gonna be how it's actually supposed to be. Because remember,
Oh,
his ending
yeah,
was
it
rushed.
was rushed. Yeah, so they're
So
actually gonna get the full
anything,
true story from the anime. So you're gonna have to read
yeah,
the manga up into that 1,000 year blood arc, and then probably read that or watch the anime.
that watch the season. Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're saying that
I'll be
basically
okay
anything
with
that's
that.
added is going to be canon. That's what
So
they're
it's
saying.
not
And people are
technically
like,
filler.
yeah, it's not technically filler because the person who's guiding it is the author. He's the one who's writing the script
Tite
essentially for
Kubo,
those
main myth
fill-ins.
legend.
Yeah.
He's like the only
Oh
mangaka
yeah.
or author that I ever remembered his name. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you like One Piece or Naruto's.
Didn't he have an offshoot series that was still in the Bleach world as well?
I think he was
Wasn't
gonna
it?
have like another series he was working on, or did like a one shot for like a contest or
I think
something.
it was a one shot. It was a girl character, or maybe it was
Yeah, I
two.
think so.
Um,
Also, for like
Burn the
people
Witch.
listening, a filler episode is basically something that's not part of like the main story, and it's like not real canon. And canon is basically what like is a true story and kind of like the main story. Non-canon means it's like a side kind of thing they do to fill episodes when the manga is getting or the anime is getting too close to the actual manga, which is the written form. So they give it a little bit of time to get some more pages out, some more chapters, and it's just kind of like not the true real story that's kind of relevant. You know, it's kind of like a side
Yeah.
little thing.
Yeah. So essentially, like the filler episodes are things that never actually happen in the context of the story, but sometimes they can allude. Sometimes they can allude directly to something that's happening in the story, or they are used for like the sole purpose of building a character.
Or it could just be
So
some random ass like fucking beach episode or like
episode,
vacation episode,
yeah.
yeah. Or like there's randomly teleported like to a random ass location and they're like hunting another like mission. You're like, wait, what?
hmm Yeah, there's some people that make like random cuts and with fillers that don't make any sense, and that's usually how you know it's a filler episode. Let's
Yeah.
say if you're fighting the main baddie and then all of a sudden you're on a beach episode, that's a filler.
It's just like, wait a minute, I see titties, and now I see fucking swords and guns.
See, yeah, exactly.
Welcome to the world of anime, people. If you were new listening here and you've never heard about it, it's definitely worth a check.
Yeah, I'd say the easiest one to get into nowadays is JJK or Demon Slayer. Those are probably two of the best introductions possible right now.
Yeah, especially since it's so like recent and new, with the good like the newer art styles, the like better
hmm
newer technology in the animation and so on and so forth, and like the
You
art,
know
like
what's something
just the
classic you
stories.
can't let go?
Naruto, best probably
No.
some of the best story in all of anime history.
Best story? Well, I think potentially for a long ongoing story.
I
Yeah,
mean
some
that
nice like
because it
middle.
does have the ability to have such a long drawn out series
hmm
that it was able to create such in depth character development and progression throughout the series and be able to do like year skip and like having like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
Yeah,
I mean, if more anime and manga like had the ability to have that many episodes, I'm pretty sure there's a lot that could have a great story as well.
yeah. I would say if Bleach didn't have some of the fillers,
That's what
there's
really
some
killed it.
fillers that I don't care for. Like what's the vampire one in the very beginning?
The vampire one?
Yeah,
Are you talking about Bleach?
Bounce. The Bounce arc. Oh my goodness.
Was
That
that
almost
the?
single handedly, that filler
Oh,
arc almost single handedly killed my entire interest in Bleach when I first
was
started
it
it.
the dude that had like
Because,
the fucking pointy like white hair sticking out to the sides?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Trust me, anime is not for
man.
kids. Watch Parasite.
Um,
Uh, you can watch Kill la
Tokyo
Kill,
Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, these are all very not PG-13.
Yeah. You want to watch something PG-13? Go watch whatever show Hachiman is in, because that's a wonderful story. I still love how that's put together.
Yeah,
Um,
it was really good. Honestly, I was like, wow. And they do. The last season took so long to come out though. So many people were like waiting for it.
yeah. What's a show that has a lot of good themes?
What's something
I guess
recent that you
Naruto.
continue?
I was gonna say, I guess Naruto just has a lot of good themes. But go ahead, you had a question.
I was gonna say like, what's recently something that you've gone into or watched, or is there anything been like? I know you said you plugged out for the last couple of years, but anything kind of like recent or new that you've kind of gotten into and watched through or read?
Um, I believe the only thing that was recent was JJK. I remember when I had no, I guess not because I started that when that was on chapter three, and I've been plugged in ever since for JJK. Has there been a series that I picked up after that? We're talking about digital media or just anime and manga?
We can do Korean or Chinese, whatever.
Just
Cause
anything?
I've been reading Korean shit all the time. This one you'd probably really like. It's called fucking Latna Saga: Survival of the Sword King. That shit's gas as fuck. I've actually like I've noticed like I liked a lot of the Korean um like products that they ship out like entertainment. You know their like even their
Mm-hmm.
like in IRL like person like Squid Games super big. A lot of their Korean films and TV shows, movies, their what is it? It's not it's manhwa. I think it's what it is instead of manga for the Korean
Like
version.
their style of
Yeah,
like
like the
books and
swipe
everything.
down instead of like the
Okay.
yeah.
I think there is one that I've paid attention to recently. Um, what's the guy's name? I think I actually just read through a good portion of this, and basically,
Solo
the
leveling.
character was a did you? I think it's called solo leveling. The character is a he's what's called a hunter,
Yeah,
and
solo leveling. That's good as fuck. My my friend
basically,
told me about it. I'm like, wow.
oh,
Continue.
okay, okay, so
He's
solo leveling, yeah, because he basically gets OP, right?
yeah, OP
That's
is
the story.
broken as fuck.
Yeah,
And there's like the portals or gates that they have to get into and close.
I guess that's the most recent thing that I've started.
That's really good.
Um,
Yeah, that's a pretty good one to start on too. And it's like not the left to right or right to left like the normal like Japanese manga
yeah, it's
is.
just up and down. I like
Yeah,
it.
the scrolling I do
I
kind
like
of
the
prefer that
art
honestly.
style
Yeah, the art style is
for
really
their
nice,
oh,
and it's
for
all
their
color.
panels. Mm-hmm. I like the paneling. I just like how they frame the art in this specific story because it's the only one that I've seen so far.
It's perfect to
Uh,
like just scroll on your
um,
phone too. Honestly,
Other than that, like I haven't heard of Squid Game yet. I don't know what that
you should
is.
definitely check it out. I mean, it's definitely
Um,
it's I think it's already broken the record, or it was at one point set to beat the record for most viewed TV show on Netflix history.
well, when it comes to stuff like that, I believe like there's a couple of shows that have done that. Um, what was the most recent one? Game of Thrones. Haven't watched. Walking
I like
Dead.
that, but
Haven't watched.
I kind of dropped off like
Um,
halfway through that.
I think the last TV episode I've ever watched, like on cable, or just TV episode in general on cable, was man,
Cable
Pokemon
TV.
Diamond and Pearl.
Dude, I haven't watched
Um,
Pokemon in ages.
Ash went to the Sinnoh region with his Pikachu, who should be like level 100 at this point,
Just maxed
and
out,
lost
broken
his
motherfucker.
battle against Paul. And like the very first like battle upon landing in Sinnoh. And I remember I was maybe, man, how long ago was that? I was maybe like 9, 8 years old, and I got so pissed off I never watched TV again after that. Like I was genuinely upset that Ash
Genuinely is it?
lost to this newbie trainer, and then I just somehow never ended up watching cable television again. I just recently got like Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, and everything to like plug myself back in, and I still haven't logged into any of these accounts that I'm paying for.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm like plugged out. Um,
So, what was your reasoning behind like plugging out and kind of disassociating yourself? Like, did you have
mm,
like a specific goal, or you just kind of like felt like you needed to do it? Was it like spiritual, or was it mental? Just kind of
no,
focusing
there
on
was,
yourself, or just kind of happened.
it just kind of happened. Um, it was kind of just like this thing of when I graduated high school, which was what, 5 years ago now?
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah, 5 years ago now. No, we're only 22, going on 23 soon. Um, I went through this like phase, man, where because remember I had broken my ribs in seventh grade,
Yeah.
and I still have medicine for that stuff, because I still have problems with my
Oh
ribs.
wow.
Um, and like when I graduated high school and I didn't have really anything to do in that short period of time between like 17 and 18 years old, or no, 18 to 19, right? Because we graduated 18 to 19 years old. I don't even remember. It's been a while now. But when I graduated, man, the smoking and the pills, like the medicine, just went up. Like I ended up getting like pretty much addicted to my medication, my painkillers,
Oh wow.
and I was smoking weed all the time. And so, I went through this like 2 year period where I was just extremely upset, extremely sad, openly too. Like I was posting these things, like I would overdose and I would post, like the
Yeah,
process of
I do
going through
remember
it
at
and
one
stuff.
point you were posting kind of like depressing, like sad shit.
Yeah, and
And
it was like that for like almost 2 years, right? Um, and I don't know what happened. Like I kind of just started making music during that time period, and those were like some of the best songs I've ever made, still to this day. Like
All that a
when I
pure
was when I
emotion.
was chugged up, and something clicked while I was like making like those songs. Something clicked, and I just completely plugged out, and I stopped smoking, stopped taking. Like I went through a period where my body actually wouldn't take my medication anymore because I was taking so much
It
that it
was
would cause
rejecting
like
it.
adverse reactions. Yes, to where if I would take it, look at it, etc., I was throwing up, fevers, high chills, like out of commission. I couldn't even have
Jesus.
pills in my vicinity. So if I got sick with a flu or a fever, I couldn't take medication because
It would fuck you
it
up.
was like it was so mentally scarring and traumatic. Like my body had physical responses to the things that I was doing. And when that started happening, I disappeared, bro. I ended up I ended up going to Orlando because during that time period is when the music like really started to take off because I was in such a quote unquote creative spirit from all these things that I was hopped up on. Um, and it was the connection of getting really good at my craft to the point where I didn't need this stuff anymore because this stuff no longer served any purpose and it was making me feel so much worse. And the music was making me feel so much better. So then like this natural chain balance, like the scale tipped more in favor of the music than anything else, right?
But at least you found something that you could like kind of like lean on. Kind
Oh
of
yeah,
found that was like good for you.
and it took off too. Like I ended up making money, and I still make money off of it. Um, and I think that's what it was, man. Because that was like a good. I think it was 2 years for that period. Because it was a long time. I would post that stuff publicly, like on Snapchat and stuff. Like Snapchat, Instagram. I would post all about it. Right. I'd have the videos of the pills like on my bed and my mattress and stuff. It was dark. Now that I
Yeah.
look back, like it was
Well, I'm
dark.
glad you got through it, man. You're still here to be able to talk to me and let people know that it's good to sometimes get away from all the noise and everything, kind of just reset and do what you love and be able to focus on yourself.
Oh yeah, it's probably the best thing possible to happen. Like that phase, whether it was good or not in that moment, ended up being one of the greatest things in my life to go through.
Yeah, and you
Like just the
persevere
simple
through the
fact of going
dark
through
and
it.
bad times, and you're able to come out a stronger person. So I mean, all you
Oh
gotta do
yeah.
sometimes, if you're in a bad spot or in bad place or mind
Hmm.
space, you gotta get through it and push through and realize on the other side, no matter how
Hmm.
long it takes, you're gonna get there.
Yeah, because during that time period, I hopped around from Planet Smoothie to Cricket, and man, I was making money off the music and making money off of phone sales. Um, I ended up becoming the assistant manager, and I think that's really when it stopped, and that's when I cleaned up the act because then I was making money off music. I was the assistant manager for a store. Then I ended up being the store manager for it, and I was only like 19 years old. Um, and then yeah, that I think from there the chain just dropped because that's when I started investing in everything as well, and then everything has just been looking up from there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's glad just to be able to go through all that, finally getting to a position where you felt good and you started kind of succeeding and started to finally branch out and then do more good for yourself and kind of just stopping all like the negative shit and all the bad shit kind of holding you back and just kind of pushing forward. Now, have you
Hmm.
like completely given up, like all type of like medication? Like even if you like injure anything, you kind of just don't take medication.
So no, I have kind of a push and pull out of a genuine fear for relapse. So I what I do when it comes to pills and like pill-like substances, um, let's say for example, if I had the flu and you know how most people would naturally go towards like a Tylenol or etc.
Yeah,
Um,
acetaminophen.
yeah, I go for the like the tea supplement,
Herbal
like
teas.
the hmm
So you're
So
like more natural shit.
yeah,
So do you
but
still
even
smoke
when
marijuana,
it
or did you give that up as
no,
well? No.
no,
Okay.
that's done.
Gotcha.
Um, because the teas, but I also take what's considered it's still medicine and it's called Theraflu. Um, and I'll still take stuff like that, but what that is you just pour the powder into water, you boil the water, and it's basically like another form of tea, but it's actual medicine. I will, however, I will take pills if I absolutely need to. Um,
Like life threatening
though,
surgery, etc.
yes, you know, EpiPen for allergies, stuff like that, or just natural, you know, naproxen maybe for some anti-inflammatory for like wrist or anything like that. If I absolutely have to, I definitely will. Um, but I do not keep it in my sight. I lock it up and I put it away.
It's good that you have like a good like iron will control over it now, and that you're not gonna let it creep up on you, and you're staying smart and safe.
Yeah. Yeah, pills are more of a emergency use only. If I absolutely need to, or if the pain is too unbearable in that moment, I will take it. But I prefer not to. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, no, I kind of been the same way. Ever since I was like a kid, I never really took any of like the Tylenol or any of those other pills for like allergies or medicine or injury. I always kind of refused it until my mom was like, "Nah, I feel like that's for weaker people," because I was like, I don't need that. I just let my natural like immunity and kind of natural healing
Yeah,
kind
take
of
over
build it
from
up.
there.
Yeah, and do it because people
Hmm.
kind of forget how strong your natural and human body is. That you don't necessarily need all these like medications and pills, and even just natural shit like you said that you use. It's healthier, it's safer, not addictive. It's
Hmm.
way just better for you. And I don't know,
Oh yeah.
I just never really liked taking medicine. I just like natural.
Oh yeah. I've definitely learned, especially over the course, like I believe throughout like my entire life as a child to a teenager, water was not my thing, man. Um, it was always soda, 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 soda. Like
Which is
I
so
could put
bad
that,
for you.
yeah, I could put down a 2 liter of soda in a couple of seconds, but when it came to a 16-ounce bottle of water, man, it took me the entire day to drink it. Like,
Sound like
and
Honey
my
Boo
oh,
Boo right now.
mm-hmm. Man, and my excuse every time. It was the same excuse every time, same reason I had. Oh, but it doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't taste like anything, right? I used to do it all the time. You know what that is, right? That's you're when you're processing that, it's an addiction, and you what you're having is a sugar addiction. You're addicted to the sugar.
Oh, so you were saying you were literally just addicted to like the sugar and the rush it gave you, and that's why you didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
drink water, all because it didn't give you that.
That basically that dopamine hit. That's what it was. And it
Yeah.
took me into whew, 20 years old, 20 years old of not consistently drinking water. Like if there was water or if there was juice or if there was soda, my first pick for everything would be the soda, then the juice, and then the water. So obviously I would have some sort of liquid in my body, but it was never what was appropriate, right?
You go to H2O, about 70% of your body is made out of it.
Yeah. And so man, started drinking water more at 20. I haven't had a soda in 2 years. Now there's the occasional soda, right? When I say it, no soda in 2 years, it's not absolutely none. There is a cup or so, like every so often. Like if I go eat out, like last night when I went to go eat out, what did I have? I had a cup of soda. You know, it's a scarcity, not completely cut off. But my main go to now is water.
Yeah, everything in moderation.
Hmm.
There are some things out there that are bad for you, some things that are good for you, some things that are terrible for you.
Oh,
If you do
yeah.
some things in moderation, it'll be okay for you, even if it's a little bad.
Oh, yeah. think what I've learned is general attainability is best. So I don't know maybe if anybody's mentioned this to you, or if anybody's had this idea or had something relative to it. Um, but I go with what's called general attainability, right? So when I go towards something, if I want something, I'm not going towards a specific goal, right? Here's my goal. My goal is to be able to sleep peacefully and do whatever I want to be able to do in my spare time. That's my goal, right? So
Sounds like
anything
reasonable
that
goal.
fits that, yeah, anything that can fit that in is how I maintain my happiness because it's very general and that can encompass so many things. I could work part time, I could work full time as long as I have time to myself. My attainability is there, and
I,
that's how I
I
maintain my
feel like
happiness.
most people do need more time with themselves and kind of, just kind of, I feel like meditating is a good thing. Just get there and talk to yourself. I don't know if you meditate, but, or just kind of have that
Mm-hmm.
good alone time. It's good to be around a lot of people and, have that social interaction, but at the same time, you gotta relax and just be yourself,
Oh yeah,
unwind.
and that's what it comes to the relaxing. Now, let's say for example, a lot of men, right, will choose gaming as their relaxation,
This is true.
but
I'm
gaming is
guilty.
not completely relaxing, right?
Yeah,
Because what
I've been
happens
there.
oftentimes, oh yeah, you
How
know,
many, how many
well,
holes?
FIFA, right?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I literally had to stop playing FIFA
Yeah.
because, like, I got way better at controlling my anger and rage over a couple of years. Just growing up, maturing. But
Hmm.
at the same time, bro, it's like FIFA is like the one game that still kind of hits my trigger, and like I literally I stay away from it because it starts to piss me off. But you learn, and as soon as you
Yes.
start to get mad, bro, just put the game down, play something else, or just go do something else.
Hmm. So here's something wrong with gaming when it comes to a relaxing thing, right? The problem with gaming is that for men, because this is how men are hardwired, this is how we see it. When we play a game, we are simulating this game as a competition between either ourselves or another person, right? So if we're playing like a first person shooter, or if we are playing um, something like FIFA, right?
Yep,
We
competitive is
automatically
fuck.
gear it towards a pure competition, right? But the reason why we lash out more is because we're in a private setting and we're not in a social setting, right? So we don't have to hold back the emotions that we're feeling when we actually lose.
Yeah,
The
no one's
problem
watching.
with that, exactly. The problem with that is, though, is when you get accustomed to doing that by yourself in public, that
Ooh,
can spill over
yeah,
into the actual real life setting and situation.
got a lot
Now
of
you have this
got a lot of big people out there
attitude.
canceled hard with the hard N word out there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and man, like you don't realize you're forming those habits. You know, you're forming these things in your own social setting by yourself. And now when you're going into public, you're forgetting that it's sometimes not acceptable to act in a certain way because you formed that habit now and you've associated it towards certain things because your brain is hardwired to certain triggers and there are things that connect chemically. They may not associate in a real life day-to-day comparison, but chemically your brain is going to react in the same fashion. Man, everything is push and pull. That's what sucks.
I can feel that. Yeah, makes a lot of sense what you're saying.
Hmm.
Oh man,
And
it's
so
just
that's why people say, man, people say gaming it can gaming can become an addiction.
oh
Everything can become an addiction.
anything.
Everything. Hmm.
You can get addicted to crave cereal and eat so much of it that you can't stand the taste of it or sight of it.
Yep. Like that was me with Cheeto Puffs.
Oh, dude, yeah, I eat a lot of Cheeto Puffs too, bro. I don't think I could eat them that much anymore.
Oh no, I can't have them. I don't even like the texture anymore. If I try to eat a Cheeto Puff, I would probably throw up because I would gag.
That's how I am with crave cereal. I literally
Yeah.
gag when I try to eat it. Like I just like my stomach's like, no, man, spit that shit out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
What
what?
else?
what other kind of business ventures are you doing at the moment? Have you branched off since that moment of becoming the store manager, or is that kind of like your current occupation at the moment? You're still doing that in the music.
Oh no. So right now it's kind of just like, right now I went back to working part time for a phone store, only because I do get bored. Unfortunately, with me, I tend to actually get bored having too much spare time. So I will specifically go back into the field of work to touch up on some skills and etc. Um,
So
and just have a steady income, something
are
that's not
you
volatile.
are you basically saying that you're kind of retired to the point where you can have passive income coming in, and that you don't have to basically
Um,
work, or are you just kind of working
I
on the side
am
for
not
side money?
retired. I'm not retired. Um,
You just have
I
a
could
passive
say,
flow of income kind of coming in
yeah,
at that moment, but
with
not
my
steadily.
current lifestyle, with my current lifestyle, I could support three of me and not have to work. Um,
And
because my,
how grandeur is
God,
your lifestyle?
not, it's minimalist, man. It's basic necessities. I mean, I just got the actual house. In the house, you know, nothing special. It is a four-bedroom, two bath,
Is this
office
the one
setup.
in Winter Park?
No, this is the one in Leesburg.
So at this moment in time, how many locations do you have under your
Um,
name?
I have I have the primary residence which is the home in Leesburg. I have the apartment here in Eustis. I have the studio in Winter Garden, and, and then I have another apartment in it's called DeBary,
Is
Florida.
that just kind of like a vacation home, or like you got like
No,
business out there?
that's a condo, and that is a rented location, so I have tenants in that location.
So people are paying you to stay there.
Yes,
Okay,
for
so
the
you don't.
condo in that
Got you,
location.
got you. Interesting. So what? Dang, what got you all into all the buying the properties and doing all that? Having three different locations at such a young
Um,
age. It's just that you have the currency to do it. Wouldn't you think it'd be a little bit more wise to maybe subsidize some of your locations that you're not currently like, residing, or maybe renting out the other two locations while you're not there?
so the way that I have it set up is that two of the locations are apartments, and they are completely subsidized under the LLC that I have. So the expenses for those apartments are considered complete tax write-offs for every expense that are there because I use both as designated work studios. So I end up paying pretty much nothing um, for them because at the end of the year, I get all the money back.
Basically, just
And
cheating the
then,
system.
no, because I basically, they're listed as official business locations because they're work from home locations. So, and then my car, I list my car as a business expense because, of course, I pretty much got to travel for everything that I do. Um,
And how many vehicles do you have at that moment? I know we talked a little bit earlier, not like now,
right
but
now, I only have three under myself. My girlfriend has one. We're looking at getting her a new one because the car that she has, it's just it's time, man. She's got a 2006 and she's got that from her father. Um, and I still don't like the car. The only issue is I can't convince her to let it go and get something newer. So I've got like nice looking cars, and then my girlfriend is driving, something that I wouldn't prefer for her to drive because it's also not a very safe vehicle. Um, well,
what are your thoughts about Tesla? You ever think about getting a Tesla, or like maybe one of those electric automated cars?
uh, I thought about investing in electric vehicles. I haven't given too much thought about owning an electric one other than the Tesla. That would be my only option for the electronic car. The only issue that I have with them is I just don't like how they look.
I don't
I just don't like how they
I
look.
don't mind how they look. I mean, if you get the one with the X-wing doors or Y-wing doors, whatever they're called. They go up sideways. They're
Hmm.
pretty dope. That one's a pretty dope model. I know they're coming out with like a couple other models, like the truck one and the roadster, etc. But even better, bro. I've already seen porn videos of bitches riding dick and getting fucked inside Teslas while that bitch is automatically driving.
Automatically driving.
I was like, saw it on the homepage. I was like, what? I was like, gotta watch this shit. Click.
Oh, oh, hold
I
on.
was like,
So
hold on.
actually,
Hold my
to
bear.
answer the question, because I never actually answered the question, the three vehicles that I have, um, it's the Hyundai Elantra 2014, but it's modified. So,
All paid off? Or you make?
oh yeah,
Oh shit.
that's paid off. Um, the the 2017 Honda Civic Type R, um, I've had that for years now. Um, that's that was paid off in cash day of, because that was like my quote unquote dream car at first.
And
Um,
now it's not, or not. Your car since you have it, you got a new one.
well, my primary vehicle is the Elantra, the 2014. The Type R is something to just mess around with, and then I have my specialty sports car that is tucked away and it's still at less than 2,000 miles. It is my 2020 Porsche Taycan.
Damn, you pay that? You pay making payments on that? Like, we got that beast hidden.
Um, I've got that one. That one's hidden in the garage of the Leesburg location. That's my actual home. Actually, did I? I don't even think I ever posted my home, or maybe I posted when I was getting it set up one time, but that was about it.
Yeah, bro. You
That's
need
in the
to
garage in
stop by the
there.
crib if you're staying in Leesburg, bro. You're
Uh,
not too far away from me. Over here,
no, I'm
yonder.
not, because it's what 20 minutes away from you,
Yeah.
right?
Well, no, I live
So,
in Wildwood now.
oh, gotcha. But man, uh, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about your Taycan.
Oh, the Taycan. It's MSRP of the car was 106,000. Um, I got it on discount for 93,000, brand new. For being a Porsche member.
Porsche member. How do you
Uh,
become a member? And do you have to own a Porsche beforehand to get into it, or is it like you just kind of pay a fee?
I pay a fee. It's an annual fee. Um, I basically signed up for the 1 year just to get the discount from when I purchased the car. So I paid the annual fee, which was 600. No, I'm sorry, $750 for the sign up, and I paid for the annual fee, which was the full course of the year to be a Porsche member. And because I was a Porsche member, they took off basically, essentially 15,000 off the MSRP of the car.
Damn, that's a pretty good
So
deal.
for me, I mean, I spend $750 and I get over 10 grand in savings. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Next day, just cancel it. Yeah, man, I'm not feeling it. Can I get a refund? I need that 750 back so I can make this payment next month.
payment, yeah. And then I put 67,000 down in the car, and then I'm only at because that was 2020. It's 2021, I think. Let me actually pull it up right here on my phone because I've got less than 20,000 left in the car
So at
because
this
I'm only
moment, bro, like, what what is your net worth if you don't mind me asking? Like, obviously a young man, 22,
um
impressively got 3 cars, 3 homes, 4 homes. I know I've heard you talking a couple times on the phone in our little PS chats.
yeah.
I know you're a big baller, man. How much
Um,
you we
liquid
talking?
asset or ownership?
I'm just talking about like pocket,
Pocket, what I have readily available?
where you don't have to like divulge into your personal assets, but like,
Oh, I mean, if we're going with liquid net worth, which is just the home and the cars and everything, 613,000. But remember, all of that can disappear with a snap of the finger,
yeah, depending on the
because
market
they're
and
liquid.
economy.
Exactly. So, what's readily available? I mean, probably only like 150 through 200,000. I think it's a little bit tighter than that. I think it's actually around like 172. would be more of what's readily available with physical assets.
So you must be making quite a good
Because
profit off of your music plus your you always say you step down. It's your part time now. I mean, you probably making most of your assets from your music, is what you're saying, and then you're
yeah,
renting out. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty
yeah,
good. Setting up, as a young businessman and young entrepreneur.
because essentially with everything, I put more money down. So I just take money from one avenue, put it into the next, pay off the first. I don't really ever take a loan or anything that's too high. Um, let's say, for example, I did with the home with the mortgage. Um, what did I do? I did 410,000. I put a down payment of 60, paying 350,000, but over the course of 30 years. But my APR rate is, I think I locked in, uh, I think it was 1.63%. And then I had like closing fees and etc. that were essentially all paid for me. And I pay with the home, I've got the other two rooms with filled primary residence. I spend myself about $650 for all my expenses for just the home in Leesburg. And remember, my mortgage price is like 350,000 is which what I pulled out. I think it's around there. Um, but I have two of the other rooms. They're being paid for. They're being used. And then the third room, well, I'm sorry, the fourth room is a another designated office. So that's written off as a business expense as well.
So, do you have any like tips or information that you would like maybe want to tell people who would be interested in starting up businesses or starting their entrepreneuring career?
It's tough because really I got to the point I right now I think a lot of my success is actually banked on luck and timing with this pandemic, right? Because of the stuff that I was already investing in, that I was looking at, that just happened to balloon at the right time, right moment. But then there's also things that I studied beforehand. Like I predicted GameStop going up 4 months beforehand, and only three people listened to me. And those three people all have homes. Nobody listened to me before then. Things like that. If you're starting your business, just find an idea that you really enjoy. Um, Probably not going to work, and it's probably not going to work for a while. You kind of gotta go with the flow because it could very well boom and it could not. It's really up to you to make the decision if you're going to keep pushing or not. But what a lot of people do is they underestimate how much it costs to actually start passive income, right? So, Bear, let's say for example, right? Let's say you know this new iPhone 13 that came out, right?
Yep, I don't have heard of that.
Oh,
Hello?
Bear,
Yeah, hello. Oh, hello.
you're back.
Sorry,
Did
technical
I
difficulties,
disconnect or
people.
did you?
Nah, it was me. I accidentally bumped my mic again. Sorry for that,
It's
listeners.
all right.
A little awkward
No,
silence,
you're
but
good.
what was your question again?
So let's say, for example, you know how the new iPhone 13 came out, right?
Yes, sir. I have known
You know
about
it's
that.
like $1,000, right?
Yep. Unless you want to get like
Let's
the
say,
terabyte fucking one, it's like two.
fun, yeah.
Jesus
So let's
Christ.
say, right, $1,000, right? You know what you could do with $1,000?
You do a
You
lot
can
of things.
you can get a certificate based on a career that you want and jump straight in by getting that experience. Or, right, let's say for example, you're one of those people and you want to buy four iPhone 13s because I got people that do that, right? You want to buy four iPhone 13s. That's like $4,000, right? You know what you can do with $4,000? You can go and get yourself a nice used car, right? Four
Finally
thousand
stop
dollars.
taking the bus or walking or taking their bike,
You know
bumming
what you
rides.
can do with that now. If you get something reliable that feels nice, even if it needs a little bit of patchwork, um,
At least
what
something to
is
get you on the
easily
move.
accessible now? There's something that's easily accessible that you can do with just a car.
Oh yeah,
It's
dude.
called DoorDash.
Job
That started up.
accessibilities, yeah,
Oh
DoorDash.
yeah,
There's so many
those just
avenues to
open
get
up,
started and move up. You
right?
just gotta look through the path and actually make the commitment to do it, and not just sit there and think
Now,
about it.
what a lot of people have issues with, of course, is getting that initial 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, right? Because they don't budget, they overspend, or etc. They don't watch where their money's going. I'm not going to speak about budgeting because there's so many topics, videos letting you know that,
Yeah.
dude, just start a budget, right?
Just go on
There's
YouTube, dog.
so many people that give you ideas for that, right? So I'm not going to give you any ideas of how to get $4,000. If at this point you're working, you're 20 years old, you should know how to save your money to get to at least $1,000 in your savings. Because if not, I can't give you really any hints. Anything that I give you, it's not going to work for you, right? Because after that, all these other side projects that you can start with this little amount of money, they start giving you returns and they give you immediate return. They give you immediate returns. You may not see them because it's going to be a couple of pennies, but those couple of pennies are actually way more than you're going to get with your money sitting in a savings account. Because when you park your money in a savings account, it's losing value at a 15, 4, 6, whatever percent interest rate. You're losing money by having a save. It doesn't even matter. Just put it into something. It doesn't even matter what you put it into.
Just
You can
invest it in
put it
some
into
form of
stocks,
way.
bonds, put it into something that benefits you, that you enjoy. Because regardless of what you put it into, if you're spending it on something worthless, it's not going to give you anything. Like for me, I lucked out with uh, PCSE Energy, right, which is like Duke Energy. It's a ETF fund that puts their money into companies across the world that run off of gas, electricity, your water bill,
Uh huh.
everything like
Yeah.
that, right? What happened with the pandemic? What are people paying more than ever now? What are they taking out their money from their savings and paying their bills in advance for it to cover their behind because they lost a job and they need time to stall out and they need to go find a job again? What's the first thing that most of these people are paying? Their bills, their
Yep.
necessity bills, their
Just to
electric,
survive.
their water, gas, if they're using gas. That's what they're spending money on. I moved all my funding, and we're going to talk about this is separate, but between 16 and 20, I had money going into my savings account. When I was 18, I did open up a, a brokerage account, right? As soon as I was 18, I put every money that I saved, everything from my savings between 16 and 18, straight in there.
That's very
And then
smart.
as I was working, from 18 to 20, every dollar went straight in there. The only thing that was in my checking, because I still had an apartment and everything to pay for, because remember, I moved out at 18 immediately. I had bills to pay as well, right? And I was working at Planet Smoothie for like
Smoothie
8.26 an
man.
hour, you know, 8.26 an hour, right? I was working 80 through 108 hours every 2 weeks at Planet Smoothie
Jesus
when I
Christ.
graduated high school. Okay, I was
Wait,
I was
80.
out there
Wait,
whipping.
80
Yes,
to 108
108.
hours.
Oh
What,
yeah,
during high
every
school?
2 weeks.
So how late
No,
was?
no, no. This is right after graduation.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like I don't think that math adds up. I was like that's
Yeah,
for let's see.
this is this was man minimum wage, right? All my money was going to taxes, bro. It was so bad. I was,
America.
you know, and after I would pay my bills because I already had a budget set up after I paid my bills, every cent, because I would zero out my checking account, right? The only time I would not zero out my checking account is if my next bill, like my next pay stub, didn't line up with when my bills needed to be paid. That's the only time I kept money in my account, right? Because let's say if I had $643.11 left over, I would zero out my checking account because I have a credit union that I don't have to have anything in it to get charged a fee or etc. Remember, you have to have, depending on your bank, you have to have certain things that you have to avoid in order to not get charges. I have a credit union in specific that I could have a zero balance. Nothing would happen. I'd get no charge back, no maintenance fee, nothing, right? So I would zero out my account and put every spare dollar into those investments. And then when COVID hit, I already had 30,000 and a little over 30,000 in investments between those years. And when COVID hit, that shit just luckily ballooned because I had all my money in the
Skyrocketed.
right spot. I had
Yeah.
all my money in the right spot.
Sometimes it takes some hard work with just a little bit of luck.
No, exactly. And that was more of a timing thing because now that's not going anywhere. I already have it. It's liquid, but it's already gained the profit. And what do? Buy and hold. Hold it because it just compounds. Let it compound.
What do you mean
You
by
know?
compound? Like grow?
Oh man. So I had I don't know if you remember who this is, but this is one of the few people I kept in touch with a little bit after high school, which was Seth Harper.
Oh, really? Yeah, I remember Seth.
Mm-hmm. So, this was a while back, and I gave him a very small, like short 6 month compounding list. And I told him, don't follow exactly this, pick and choose model after this, what you would like to go for. But this would be something that I would say to look at,
Recommend, kind of take this as a
but
base
not
list and make
don't
your
like
own.
don't do this one to one, right? Because
Yeah,
it's not you can't just
guaranteed.
copy what I do and it's not going to work, right? You got to pick what's best for you and you know, what fits for your risk and etc. Right? Companies that you like, that you believe will be here 10, 15 years, right? And I gave him a very small list of things to look at. That list was what was in my portfolio, but I had 39 holdings in my portfolio at the time. I only gave him 5, right? The 5 that I gave him are the biggest increases in my portfolio right now.
So you helped a brother out.
Well, I have no clue. I don't know if he ever, took a look at it or anything like that. Um, but let's say, for example, if he did copy it one to one, he would have made some bank. But
Yeah,
you know,
I'm gonna need to get with you after the podcast, and we're gonna talk some money. I'm gonna need some help
oh yeah,
financially. I'm broke. I hate being broke.
oh, yeah. Hey man, it takes a while before anything really pops off. I mean, look at a barbershop. 4 years before a 43-cent profit.
Oh
You
yeah, I
know.
know. I'm not like the current generation where they expect immediate satisfaction.
Yeah.
And, I understand that you're gonna have to grind, take times to do things. It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen immediately or the next week or the next month. Maybe we should take
Yeah.
4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You never know, but if you're passionate about something, you want to do it. If you keep pushing,
Oh
eventually you
yeah.
can get there.
Yeah.
Not everyone
And
starts their career at 20.
you actually asked a question about the compounding, and you said, "What do I mean compounding?" So to bring it back to that, for compounding, right? It's like compounding interest, right? So you know how if you park your money in your savings account for a year and you've got like $1,000, right? You got like a 1%. Let's say you have a 1% interest rate because banks don't even have a 1% interest rate for the most part right now, right? That means in your bank, if you kept $1,000 in them for the year, at the end of the year, you have $1,001, right? That's your compounding interest.
Uh huh.
So, let's say if you go for reliable companies that pay dividends, um, what's a good example? I guess AT&T could be a good example, right? Let me actually pull it up right now. Let's see what the price of AT&T stock is. Give me one moment. I'm just gonna pull up my brokerage right now, real quick.
Take your time, man. We like to get the correct and proper facts here. And if there's anything that's been missed or anything, I'm not against admitting I was wrong. I'm not an expert on these things. I'm just here to talk, an average
Oh
guy.
yeah, no, it's okay. This is just information for reference because it's not the trade market time, so this is gonna be a little skewed when it comes to the exact amounts because money moves at all times, even when you're sleeping. Um, so we're gonna look at the price right now at 8:01 p.m. Price of AT&T stock is $26.03, right?
Yep.
The current share price for AT&T is 52 cents for every share. Every share is $26.03. So let's say you had 1,000 shares. That's 2603 times 1,000, right? That's $26,000 in just AT&T, right?
Yep.
So now let's say
26,000 roos.
$26,000 in just AT&T. Now you're going to times 1,000 shares because with $26,000 you have 1,000 shares. Now you're going to times 1,000 by the 52 cents because you get 52 cents a share every quarter. So you're going to get paid every 3 months.
Wait,
For
so
26,000, right? You're going to get paid $520 every 3 months. Well, I'm sorry, every 4 months. I believe AT&T is every 3 or 4 months.
and why do you get paid?
Because you have a share, so you're an investor in the company. So if the company still exists, AT&T is what's considered a dividend stock. So money that they make gets paid back to the investors by a certain percentage. Their percentage, I believe, before, I don't have it right now. Let me go back in. I believe it was like 6 or 7% of their profits. And then they split them based on the shares and who's invested in the company, right? So
Okay.
basically, whoever is putting money into them, they get paid back by a portion, and they get paid a portion of, I believe it's 6 or 7%. Let me pull it up. AT&T dividend share price. Stock. So their dividend is 7.63%, right? So 7.63% of the money goes back to the investor. So you're going to get 7.63% of what you have invested in that company every time they pay their dividends.
Okay, I understand now. Yeah, I think I get it.
Yeah. So there's things like that. Like AT&T is one of the most popular and well-known ones because they've always had a high dividend rate and a reliable, steady one.
So you heard the
And
man
like that's just for example.
taking it straight from Gino's mouth. Go invest all of your savings and money into
Oh,
AT&T.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't.
Don't do that because we don't know how it's going right now because I believe they just split with their Warner Brothers and Dish. I think they just split into like two separate companies. So like people are still keeping their eyes on them. So they're actually extremely volatile right now.
So
But
you
you
heard it
know
from the
who's a good
man.
investment right now?
What's the best
T-Mobile.
investment? T-Mobile. Why is that?
No, not the best, just a good one.
What's good about T-Mobile at the moment?
Oh, they bought out Sprint.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they're leading every company in the world right now in 5G. They're overlapping everybody. But no, I would say, you know, a good one would still be like Vanguard, Vanguard ETF or the SDIV fund, which is more real estate. But that one could be volatile as well because of things going wrong in China right now with their real estate agencies. So there's just a lot of things. It's really up to how much you're willing to risk. Because remember, any dollar that you invest, you got to be willing to lose.
Yeah, so please
You know,
invest to your financial capabilities and don't go crazy. You gotta be reasonable,
safely and
guys.
smartly. Because remember, it is a gamble. You have to be willing to lose everything that you put in. But that's why it's up to you choosing what you want to get. But usually, a good rule of thumb is if you believe the company is going to be here 10 to 15 years down the road, and depending on what your investing style is, go for it.
Yeah, I need to. I was investing in crypto and some other stuff, stocks, like last year and such. But
Hmm.
I feel like I'm a bit of a gambler addict, and
Hmm.
try not to just get into stuff like that in gambling. But I didn't really make too much money. Made a little bit here and there. I think I ended up with positive profit at the end of the day.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's all open ended. That's the good and bad about it. But there is so much more good investing than there is bad. It's just too many people are unwilling to do it.
Fair enough. I
I
definitely
don't
do
think,
plan to
well,
get back into
I
it
don't think
at
they're
some
unwilling
point.
to. I think they're scared to.
Why do you think they're scared? Because of the financial risks?
I think no, more so because the knowledge isn't really spread amongst the people too well, right? Like there's resources for people to learn about it, but people are so scared of the notion of investing that they just don't do it. And I think it's because, it's not taught in our school system. It, you know, they don't teach us what we're going to be doing or real life applications after high school. They don't teach us any of the important stuff.
Yeah, no, I
How to
mean,
file your
honestly,
taxes, all that.
none of that was
They
useful
don't.
at all. Like, that's why I don't really like what the school system does and how they operate. I really don't feel like you learn anything really useful for the real world. It's just kind of like a system to keep you going into college, and even in college, you didn't really learn too much about the real world unless you're taking specific classes for like certain things.
Oh yeah. There's something that people say is that school teaches you how to be an employee.
Yeah, work in
People say
a
that,
work in a
and it's
box.
true. Yep. They teach you how to conform to standards. Your goal is okay if you want to fit those standards, you can go ahead because it works well for quite a lot of people. College is a successful route for people that go to college, but it's also a huge detriment for quite a lot of people that do attend as well. There's people that have student debt that they can't either ever get rid of, or they made the mistake of going to college and now they have a major that they can't even break into their field
Yeah, that is
because
another
they
big
don't have the
problem I
experience.
noticed. Is that, yeah, like, where are you supposed to get this experience? You go through all this college, get the degree, and a lot of people are having to go back to college and get another degree because they can't get what they wanted to do
Oh yeah.
because there's no openings.
Hmm. But a lot of people's focus is telling you that college is the way, and it's not. It's not for
It's not the
everybody.
only
It
way.
is for some people, yes, but it's just it is how it is.
Yep. Well, I mean, is there anything else that you really got to say or anything that you thought up along the way that you want to talk about or bring up?
No, but if you have another question, I can answer it.
I think I'm all good, man. Been going for about an hour and 43 minutes. I felt like we've learned
Hmm.
a lot today. Good catching up with you. Do you have any last words or anything you want to say before we end this podcast?
No, we're good. I think on a good note like that.
Yeah, I felt it was a very informative note to end on.
Yeah.
All right, well.
No, I think that's about it. I mean, if you want to have me again, you can.
Oh
Just
yeah,
let
for
me know
sure,
whenever you
definitely,
want.
definitely plan to have
And
you guys on multiple times. Get more information, more knowledge. Who knows what the road's gonna lead down into the future?
oh yeah. But if you definitely want to go to that arcade, because I have
Oh, fuck
not
yeah.
been
Hit me
there
up,
yet,
bro.
and I have not seen it yet, and people say that it's good. I
Yeah,
still
well,
want
I
to
definitely want to try out
check
that
it out.
hatchet throwing. That shit sounds lit.
Hmm, hatchet throwing.
All right, well, everyone who's
That
stayed
sounds
this long
nice.
to the end, appreciate you. Really appreciate you coming on, Gino, taking your time out of your busy schedule. Good to catch up with you. Love you, man. It's good to have you as a friend. Is there any last words?
No, alrighty. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me. It's been nice talking to you. It's been a good minute since we've actually had a
Decent conversation.
conversation.
Yeah, like a long
Yeah.
conversation like this.
Oh, yeah. I think, man, I think the last actual time was again in a Discord. And that was a while back now because it had to have been before 2020.
I
I'm
think
pretty
it.
sure.
I think it was
Yeah.
the
So,
pandemic. Low key just like put everything into disarray.
oh, yeah, definitely did. But it's nice talking to you again.
Yeah, for sure,
Hopefully, we
man.
can pick up again soon.
Oh yeah, man.
If you
Hit me
want to
up,
play
bro.
some League, I know I'm not very good at it. The only person I really ever got to use was Cog Maw. But I still love that character. If you ever want me to do carry lane, I got you.
For our bet, man. And you heard it, folks. Appreciate everyone for staying this long. You guys have a good day and stay frisky.